Welcome and hope you're doing well. Let's go into the 5 multicultural things we've learned from Samuel Jackson for success. And he isn't just a Hollywood actor who tells it as it is by using the F word from time to time, but someone who has overcome severe adversity from the Jim Crow laws in the South and went on to define a new multicultural Hollywood from its many past mistakes. Here at Mr. Multicultural, we judge a person by their character, not by their race, color, or religion. And if you agree, why don't you join our multicultural family by subscribing to this channel, as our own understanding of being multicultural has been reinforced by the Cambridge English Dictionary. My name is Bobby A. Said. I am the founder of the Emirates Show that started in 1997. As shown from the previous introduction, clearly Samuel Jackson didn't have an easy life, as these many articles will show. He was deeply affected by the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King and went on to attend his funeral as an usher. He was on drugs to hide the continual pain of being exposed to racism and discrimination from his acting work, then finally got the break that he deserved to become one of the highest banking Hollywood actors of all time. Let's hear from Samuel Jackson from our Emma Show, who was kind enough to record this message in support of our multicultural aims, which he clearly supports.
Hi, this is Samuel L. Jackson wishing you good luck tonight at the Emmas.
Number 1, prioritization. Samuel Leroy Jackson was born in Washington, D.C. on the 21st of December 1948 and grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Jackson only met his father twice and was raised by his mother Elizabeth Jackson, a factory worker and later a supplies buyer for a metal institution. As you can see, he had a humble background with no silver spoon. In the absence of a father figure, his mother, maternal grandparents and aunt had a huge impact on his early life and shaping his upbringing. Especially his Aunt Edna, an elementary school teacher who had taught him to read at an early age. It was this same aunt that helped Samuel to overcome his speech impediment, which he grew up with. Stuttering is not uncommon, with there being roughly 3 million Americans who stutter. Samuel would pretend to be in the body of people who didn't stutter and still uses the word motherfucker to get through a speech block. As he was overcoming his speech impediment, Samuel was helping his grandfather at work, where he learnt how to conduct himself in a segregated South. This was a way to protect himself against the racial violence imposed randomly at times for any African American by the white community. Built on the back of controversial history and slavery, racial segregation in Tennessee was at its height throughout Samuel's childhood. In fact, he wouldn't be taught by a white teacher or be surrounded by white pupils until college. For me, everything was very separate. Even the movie theatres I was going to were all black theatres. My whole existence was black. In cinema, the vast majority of actors were white, and there were only a few actors of colour for Samuel to look up to at the time. Diversity in Hollywood is still an issue, even looking at the 2013 chart. As of 2019, 77% of Hollywood roles are given to actors of white background compared to the market they serve. And the 2021 controversy of the Golden Globes for its lack of racial diversity and inclusion really highlights this is still a subject that needs addressing further. Number 2, keep your dream alive. Before overcoming this barrier and advancing to the most successful Hollywood actor we all know today, Samuel spent years fighting for civil rights in the US. He was a Morehouse College student when civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1968 and attended King's funeral as an usher in Atlanta. I was angry about the assassination, but I wasn't shocked by it. I knew that change was going to take something different, not sit-ins, not peaceful coexistence. The tragedy of Dr. Martin Luther King's death sparked uprising in hundreds of cities across America and will be the greatest wave of social unrest since the American Civil War. Samuel's determination to make a difference and fight for equality stirred him towards purchasing weaponry and guns due to a possible civil war. By the mid-1960s, some civil rights organizations could no longer see non-violent protests as a viable means of combating racism. This gave rise to more active operations held by groups such as the Black Panther Party and the Black Women's United Front. Despite his engaged activism, Samuel denied having been a member of the Black Panther Party in an interview with Vogue in 2018. Furthermore, Samuel decided that theatre would be his politics and returned to Morehouse College, from which he majored in drama in 1972. This is also when he met Latanya Richardson, who he would go on to become his wife and longtime partner, later sharing a daughter together. Samuel and Latanya both joined the Black Image Theatre Company and were part of the Black Arts movement, which promoted Black pride through activism and art. For example, Samuel and others demanded for the theatre to produce Black plays, hire Black directors and Black actors, with these demands still being very relevant as the fight for equal opportunity for all racial ethnicities continues today. Despite his efforts, Samuel was limited by the restrictions and discrimination towards Black actors in the South. This led to him and his wife moving to New York City in 1976, where he spent the rest of the decade on stage performing in theatres. Number 3. Passion. It was in New York and during the height of the crack epidemic of the mid-1980s that Samuel's recreational drug use spiraled into addiction. He was checked into rehab and he has been sober since 1991. However, over 35 million people still suffer from drug addiction as of 2020. He credits sobriety to the sudden success of his career, which ironically came only 2 weeks after checking out of rehab and with his role as a drug addict in Spike Lee's 1991 film Jungle Fever. For this performance, he would win the New York Film Critic Award that same year and receive the first ever Best Supporting Performance Award by the Cannes Film Festival. After this achievement, he cemented his status in Hollywood, landing the iconic role of Jules Winfield in Tarantino's Pulp Fiction in 1994, who had written the role specifically for Samuel after meeting him in 1993 on True Romance. His success has been guided by Samuel's mentor Morgan Freeman, who he shares a long-lasting friendship with. They constantly encourage each other's development as actors and helped assist one another's career choices, which led them to being two of the most renowned and respected actors in Hollywood. With this support, and thanks to his hard work, Samuel is a well-established actor in the film industry. Number 4. Discipline. With almost 200 acting credits to his name, he is a highly prolific actor and a wide range of roles in high-profile films. He is Chief Engineer Ray Arnold in Jurassic Park, basketball coach Ken Carter in Coach Carter, and Senior House Slave Stephen in Django Unchained, to only name a few. Regarded as one of the greatest American actors of his generation, he played iconic roles in blockbuster movies such as Jedi Master Mace Windu, in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and S.H.I.E.L.D. leader Nick Fury in the Marvel Universe film franchise. His signature voice has also been cast in a wide range of projects such as children's book parody Go F to Sleep, Pixar films Incredibles, where he is the voice actor of the animated character Frozen. Following this success, and thanks in particular to his recurring role on the Marvel Universe, Samuel became the most highest grossing actor of all times in 2011. Surprisingly, Samuel has never won an Oscar and was only nominated once by the Academy Awards for his role in Pulp Fiction. His talent did not go unnoticed. However, he has been recognized by 42 awards and 87 nominations in various categories, including a BAFTA for Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Pulp Fiction, a Black Reel Award for the Best Supporting Actor for Django Unchained, and a total of 4 NAACP Image Awards. Additionally, he was honored by a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame with a hand and footprint ceremony at Grauman's Chinese Theatre, becoming the 7th African American to be awarded and recognized for this. The Stuttering Foundation recognized his achievements of Samuel on their charity website in 2015, honoring his openness to his experience of growing up with a stutter and battling through this hardship in his life. Number 5. Positive mental attitude. Samuel has been heavily involved in bringing aid to those who need it through his generous charity work over the years. He and his wife set up their own charity, the Samuel L. Jackson Foundation, in 2009. This brings funding to institutions that surround youth, health, and the arts. Samuel and Latanya also support a variety of educational programs, such as their former school, Morehouse and Spillman. A component of their work takes place further on a global level. They have lent their support, for instance, to the Daraja Academy, a school for Kenyan girls. As well as this, they support the Alzheimer's Foundation and Not Alone Foundation, which deals with kidney disease, Artists for a New South Africa to combat HIV/AIDS, and the Holy Roy Foundation, which focuses on autism and Parkinson's disease. We can already see this commitment Sammy has made in generating positive change for individuals of all races and ethnic backgrounds across the world. But not only this, the couple is also a top supporter of African American arts institutions. They support the Studio Museum, True Color Theatre Company in Georgia, the Ebony Repertory Theatre in Los Angeles, and the Smithsonian Institution, leaving generous donations to support these causes. In summary, he had beaten the racist segregation system, despite most states and cities developing new ways to get around the Jim Crow laws, restrictions that still prevailed in the South during Samuel's childhood. However, there was no social media then to create the social awareness upon discrimination with a tagline, Oscars All White. They had to work from within their own community through grassroots activity. Samuel has proved that it's not one's colour that sells the movies, but your personality. After a few small roles, he really hit the ground running, landing various blockbuster parts that have made him the highest grossing actor of all times in 2011. In 2019, the global box office was worth $42.2 billion. When including box office and home entertainment revenue, the global film industry was worth $136 billion in 2018. He is constantly proving that giving is better than receiving, supporting 27 charities and constantly giving back to the community. More recently, in 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Samuel and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson encouraged coronavirus patients to donate blood plasma in an effort to help others fighting the virus. With over 4 million deaths around the world, we are still to measure the real effects around mental health, the economies, poverty, education, health, and social mobility. Why don't you leave us a comment and share your own thoughts about what Samuel Jackson had experienced whilst growing up? Have things really changed since those Jim Crow laws in the US, or is racism now defined in other ways since the murder of George Floyd? Would really appreciate a like or even a subscribe if possible. Please donate on Patreon however little the amount to support this channel's ongoing mission to undertake multicultural campaigns. And remember, it's what's inside that counts, a motto we've used at the Emmas. As Samuel L. Jackson has proven, you can't keep talent down. In a world that has many multicultural stories in a multicultural marketplace. So until next time, thank you for watching and keep it multicultural.